Hello, welcome to Aviators TV, welcome to London Stansted and welcome to our flight video. As you can see, we are going to be in the RYR Boeing 737 MAX today and we are operating flight 754 from Stansted over to Venice. We're at the beautiful Builds London Stansted 4-hour flight and we are in the iFly Boeing 737 MAX, one that I've only just purchased. This is only my third flight taking the iFly out and I'm late to the party on this one. It's relatively quiet on VATSIM at the moment, but hopefully we're going to pick up some control as we go. We do have Stansted radar online and we do currently have some coverage in Italy, but hopefully we'll still be on by the time we get there. Looking at about a 2-hour flight today. For this video, we'll take you through the cockpit setup. We have literally just connected the power, aligned the IRS, and that's all that we've done. So we're going to get the aircraft loading in a second. We'll show you the setup, watch a little bit of the loading, do the taxi out and climb up to cruise. But then when we're in the cruise, we'll skip through some of that and then take you forward to the descent and the landing into Venice. Hopefully it'll be a good one. It is Storm Amy, I think, here in the UK today. It is very windy. Stansted's a little bit on the edge of it. Last time I looked though, we were getting gusts in Stansted between about 35 and 40 knots. So going to be a blowy one when we're going for takeoff. Having said that, first thing, let's get going. Let's get ourselves into the aircraft. And we'll go and do a little bit of the overhead setup. I might do sim. It's very loud, so I might just turn the sim down a tiny bit while we're doing that. So we will begin. Let's first of all just make sure that everything is set up, because we did have a bit of an issue with a flight we were doing before, so I think all looks good with my external controls. So our parking brake is set. We've got the battery switch set to on. We've got the guard shut. We have connected the ground power. We've got the IRS aligning. We've already loaded the fuel, so we're going to go and get the seatbelt signs on for when we start boarding in a second. I'm going to pop our position lights down into steady. Put the window heats on. We are going to go and get the recirc fans are already set into auto, the trim air is set to on. We'll pop packs down into auto, we'll get the APU going in a second. Isolation valve is open, our pressurization panel is set to auto. We're going to get fuel pump number 1 set to on. We'll go and pick up the ATIS and set the altimeter in a moment. We'll call for clearance and we'll get our score code. But what we can do from here, I think, is just start. We're going to start boarding in a second. So let's go get the APU on so that we can get some air conditioning through into the cabin. So we'll get that loading up now. IRS hasn't quite aligned yet. We're going to have a quick look at how that's doing. That's nearly done. That's aligning. Well, we just wait for a couple of those bits to kick in. You can have a quick look around. We have just signed in. You can hear the APU loading up. Have a quick look around at what we've got down at Stansted, see if we've got any traffic with us. It's looking pretty quiet today. We've got somebody next to us down in an Airbus. Looks like there's maybe a Jet 2 over on an Alpha as well. But pretty quiet at the moment down at Stanny. We'll connect over onto Stansted radar in a moment, pick up the ATIS and go and get our clearance soon. Sounds on the iFly, one of the best sets of sounds. I think of the add-ons that I've purchased, absolutely phenomenal. I did have an issue where on the latest version I couldn't get liveries to work off of flightsim.to, so I have wound back a version so that we could get this one working for today. What we'll do, I think we'll go and start to request our boarding. FMC wants us to set our positions, so let's give it that. Let's now see if it knows 3-2 right. No, it doesn't know 3-2 right. It might know 3-2, does it? No. Okay, well, we'll set the position based on that. In that case, there we go. It's got our screens all set up and active. So, next thing we want to do, I want to go and pick up the ATIS and we'll start tuning. For some reason we don't have an ATIS at the moment. Wonder if that's because somebody's coming on. Okay, well, as we don't have an ATIS, we'll just auto-tune. So 1000 hectopascals. And we'll go and do some more setting up, in that case, of our FMC. So, we are running from Stansted. Let's see if we can get the flight plan request to work. Originally I had a go at tracking this flight in from Venice and back out in real time. A slightly worrying sign. My flight from Venice was going well, and then I had a crash to desktop in my descent. My flight from Stansted, well, I just screwed that one up, so no one to blame but me, really. Let's just double check that this one is loaded in. So it looks like we have loaded in pretty well. Clacton, and then all the way down to Albert, which is where we are expecting to pick up the arrival. We're using runway 22 today, I believe, so we'll pop in our plan for the Clacton 2 Echo departure. And we'll activate that. We'll just check on VATSIM radar that everything's loaded properly. Which it has. So, who have we got on the ground with us? The A320 is a RYR heading up to Edinburgh. Got another RYR also heading to Edinburgh in a 738. Jet 2 should be an A321. And we've got what looks like some kind of GA aircraft sat on the ground with us as well. And Stansted radar's unfortunately just logged off by the looks of it. Well, it's still showing as online for me. So we'll go and tune 120625 in a second. So for our perf we can go and pick up some of our information from the EFB. I can't remember. This one we put in the gross weight, I think, so 67.1, and then it will populate our zero fuel weight. I can pick up our reserves from SimBrief. So our reserves are 2.7. Cruise wind. There's 265 at 107. That is quite a wind. Cost index of 6 I'm happy with. If we head on to the next page, that looks fine. If we used full takeoff on climb, I did run. No, I didn't run the numbers, so let's go and do our takeoff calculation. We're going to be Stansted runway 22, we're not going to use an intersection. Condition appears to be dry. Copy the rest from the FMC. We use takeoff rating, we use flaps 5, we'll have the aircon on, and which reminds me, we want to go and get our APU generators on and our APU bleed on. And we can calculate our takeoff performance. So our selected temperature is going to be 46. Takeoff with flaps 5. Our centre of gravity is 21.4. our speeds are, right, let me send the output, 137, 138 and 150. 137, 138, 150. Missed something in our perf in it. We haven't set, I think it's the plan that we haven't set. I will execute all of that. And our pre-flight is complete. We'll go out and have a little bit of a look at our passengers boarding. And as our passengers just finish up on boarding, we'll work through a little bit more of the setup here in the cockpit. So we got to, we've set the barrow, let's go, we can set the flight directors to on from here. We should be able to arm the LNAV and the VNAV as well. And we can go and request our clearance and see if we can get hold of Stansted radar.
Squawk 7231. Transavia 90 Yankee, descent altitude 5,000 feet.
Down 5,000 to Transavia 90 Yankee.
Stansted radar, very good afternoon. RYR 67 Mike X-ray, stand 32 right, 738 max. We've got QNH 1000 looking for clearance to Venice.
RYR 67 Mike X-ray, thank you. Clear to Venice, Clacton 2 Echo departure, squawk 6020.
Cleared on the Clacton 2 Echo departure, squawking 6020, RYR 67 Mike X-ray, thank you.
RYR 67 Mike X-ray, back right.
Okay, we'll pop that in now while we remember it. We won't set our transponder to on just yet while we're still loading. Confirm the Clacton 2 Echo departure, which is the one that we had planned for.
X13 Bravo Pepper, request push start.
Break, Transavia 92 Yankee, turn right heading 310 degrees, descent altitude 4,000
We've pretty much completed all of our pre-flight in that
Right,
case.
310 and altitude 4,000 to Transavia 90 Yankee.
So we'll just let boarding finishing up and then
Station
we'll
calling for pushback, say Cosmo.
get to
One
completing our
three,
setup.
Bravo
The one thing we haven't do is set up.
James 13 Bravo Papa Stand 11 push
So
approved,
I'll have
QNH
a quick
1000.
look. Let me just load up
start first,
Navigraph.
QNH 1000, X13 Bravo
I know that the initial altitude on the Clacton 2 Echo is going to take us up to 4,000 feet. I think the heading is 224. I'll just check that in a second. We'll scroll around to there anyway. So the initial heading on the Clacton 2 Echo is 222. And our V2 speed that we calculated was 150, so let's get that in. It's our indicated airspeed. That was the sound of boarding completing, so I think we need to tell GSX to take the stairs away, so we'll get that going. And we're running off the APU, so we can also get rid of... Oops, we can get rid of our ground power unit, we can get rid of our chocks.
2000 Transavia 90 Yankee.
We'll start now finishing off our setup. So we've disconnected our ground power, we've removed the chocks, our flight deck doors are closed. Let's just check that all our doors are closed. They are. Right, we've forgotten to set that. Right, that's the ground power unit actually gone now.
Transavia 90 Yankee, turn left heading 260 degrees, cleared for the ILS, runway 22.
Cleared
So we'll go
ILS
back up
22
to our
and again
overhead.
heading please, Transavia 90 Yankee.
Switch down the yaw damper. Let me just check the
Heading
volume.
260 degrees.
Left 260, copy Transavia 90 Yankee.
Turn V-pilot down a little bit, looks like it's quite loud. So the yaw dampers are set to on, we'll get the probe heats on, we'll come and get the hydraulic pumps on, got our fuel pumps on. I don't think we've got anything in the centre tank, no we haven't. Passenger signs are set to auto, we'll get our anti-collision lights on to say that we're starting up in a minute. That puts us pretty much in a position of being ready to start. I'm just gonna check that all my doors are closed. Which they are not. So let's close the last of my doors. Double check that they have shut properly. Yep. And I think that makes us about ready to call for push. So let's go pop our transponder on. So that we show up for ATC. And we'll ask for our pushback.
Transavia 90 Yankee, speed 165 knots, double forward DME.
Lower speed 165 knots, Transavia 9R to Yankee.
Just confirm it'll be just to 4 DME.
165 to 4, copy Transavia 9 Yankee.
Transavia 90 Yankee, the surface is 260 degrees, 20 knots, gusting 35 knots, runway 22, split land.
Clear to land, oh, sorry.
They're not having fun. Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray ready for push.
Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray stand free to your right, push and start approved, QNH 1000.
Push and start approved QNH 1000, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray.
Transavia 92 Yankee, the surface is 260 degrees, 20 knots, gusting 35 knots, runway 22, clear to land.
Yeah, Transavia 90 Yankee, we are going around due to a problem with the throttle.
Transavia 92 Yankee, yep, no worries, I was thinking you were very low, nearly like 500 feet at 6 miles, but that's fine. You can turn right heading 040 degrees.
Ground heading 040 degrees, Transavia 90.
Somebody's loaded in. No, somebody hasn't loaded beside us.
Confirmed station calling was Ryanair 42 Echo Zulu?
Yeah, correct.
Ryanair 42 Echo Zulu, if you can stop and push start approve, sorry, QNH 1000, if you can push onto Bravo East.
Yeah, we're going to Bravo East, thanks for 4 seconds.
Okay, we'll go and get our engine startup going. So for engine startup, we're going to go and get our packs off.
New York, West Africa to Amsterdam, Schiphol South.
And we're going to
Transavia
engine number 2.
Alpha Sunset Radar, hello, you're clear to Amsterdam, Clacton to Echo departure, Squawk 2232.
Clear to Amsterdam via the Clacton to Echo departure, Squawk 2232, Transavia 5 at the club.
Transavia 5 Echo Alpha, Radar correct. Transavia 92 Yankee, just confirm you're heading 040 degrees.
Heading 040 degrees, confirmed Transavia 90 Yankee, and the altitude will be 3000.
Transavia 90 Yankee A7, climb now up to 3000 feet.
Having 3000 Transavia 90 Yankee.
Looks like we're going to be following this Transavia Airbus.
Transavia 90 Yankee, will you be ready for an immediate approach or will you need some time?
Throttle problems are fixed, so we are ready for immediate approach. Transavia 90 Yankee.
Transavia 90 Yankee, in that case, ascend to your altitude 2000 feet.
That's 2000 Transavia 90 Yankee.
Transavia 90 Yankee, no ATC speed restriction.
Speed restrictions.
That's engine number 2 started. It will pop up and we'll get engine number 1 going. Oops, that's gone the wrong way. There we go.
Transavia 90 Yankee, turn left heading 030 degrees.
Left 030 Transavia 90 Yankee.
Well, that's now motoring, so to there. Whilst that's going, we're going to set the anti-brake, the anti-skid to RTO. Auto brake, that's the word I want. We're going to set our flaps to 5.
Hold point Romeo 1, Romeo 22 via Link Alpha, Hotel and Romeo.
We're going to double check what our trim was.
Taxi to hold point
It's
Romeo 1 for 1122 via
5.38.
Link Alpha, Hotel and Romeo. Channel 13.
Looks about right.
Transavia 5 at club, first time 12, only 4% done.
Transavia 5 Echo Alpha, Squawk 2232. Brake, Transavia 90 Yankee, turn right heading 180 degrees, cleared for the ILS runway 22.
I'm going to get our taxi lights on.
Right, 180.
Confirm we've had a good engine start. Generator 1 on, generator 2 on. APU generators off, APU bleed off, the APU off.
Transavia 5 at club, squawking 202.
Transavia 5 Echo Alpha, after the Jet 2 A321 passes you right to the left behind on Link Alpha, stand 12, push and start approved, GNH 1000.
We can go and get our packs back on.
2 with 20 passes on Link Alpha, push and start approved.
Make sure our isolation valve is set to auto.
After the radar, you're going to balloon run F35 back of Romeo with you 54100 inbound Abbott.
Run F35 Echo Romeo, thank you, descent level 9 0.
Descent level 90 Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo.
Run F35 Echo Romeo, expect vector for the ILS runway 22, fly heading 260 degrees.
Expect vectors throughout the
While we're waiting,
ILS-22, fly heading
I'll be auto
2603,
throttle.
Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo.
Okay, that was multiple stations at 1, Transavia 90 Yankee, runway 22 clear to land, the surface wind 260 degrees, 20 knots, gusting 35 knots.
Lieutenant 22 Transavia 90 Yankee.
Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray ready for taxi.
Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray, are you able to transition onto Bravo West?
AFM.
Transavia 67 Mike X-ray, roger, you can taxi Bravo West, hold short of hotel.
Bravo West hold short of hotel, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray.
Ryanair 42 Echo Zulu, we're ready for taxi.
Ryanair 42 Echo Zulu, taxi Bravo, hold short of hotel.
Bravo short hotel, 42 Echo Zulu.
Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray, you can actually continue on Bravo East to fine.
Okay, we'll remain on Bravo East and we'll hold short of hotel, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray.
Ryanair 44 Romeo Uniform, subsea ready for
Ryanair 44 Romeo.
Nice to see Stansted so busy.
After the company 737-800 passes you from behind, right to left on Link Bravo, stand 32, push and start approved, QNH 1000.
After the company 737 passes right just behind, push start through QNH 1000, Ryanair 44 Romeo Uniform.
Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo, descend flight level 80.
Descend flight level 80, Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo.
Ryanair 42 Echo Zulu can continue taxi holding point Romeo 1, runway 22 via and Romeo.
Hotel Romeo, Romeo 1, runway 22, Ryanair 42.
Stansted radar, good day, Blue Max 94 Juliet Victor at stand 43 Lima, type 737-800, requesting aircraft clearance to Edinburgh South.
Blue Max 94 Juliet Vector, Stansted radar, hello, clear to Edinburgh, Utah for 1 Romeo, departure score for 1440.
Clear to Edinburgh South, Utah for 1 Romeo, departure squawk 1440, Blue Max 94 Juliet Victor.
Blue Max 94 Juliet Victor, reback correct, brake, and Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray, continue taxi holding point Romeo 1 via Hotel and Romeo.
Hotel Romeo to Romeo 1, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray.
Hello, Ryanair 165, 32, flight level 115.
Ryanair 165, Stansted radar, hello, stop at descent flight level 90 and score header.
90, score contact.
Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo, turn left heading 215, range
the Transavia coming in.
touchdown, descent altitude 6,000 feet to QNH 1000.
Left heading 215, descend to 6,000 feet, QNH 1000, Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo.
Need to be a bit careful, I think. Right behind.
Transavia 5 is also here. The Jet 2 we were supposed to wait for has disconnected as he was taxiing in right circle.
Transavia 5 Echo, take sun 12, push and start approach to QNH 1000.
Oh, blimey.
Press our approved QNH 1000,
Oh, dear.
sun 12, Transavia 5 is also.
We'll pull up
Ryanair
slightly
40
further
Echo
then.
Zulu via Romeo 1, runway 22, line up.
Romeo 122, line up, and wait, Ryanair 42.
I wonder why, what he's flying in that we're not recognising him. Right, we'll crawl up to Romeo 1. Whilst we're doing that, we'll get traffic set. Pop the weather radar on. Anything else we need to do? We need to get ourselves set to TARA.
Halamed 88 Echo, roger, squawk 6176.
616, kind of an 8, okay. Traffic 2, Yankee is getting 22.
Break runner 35 Echo Romeo, turn right heading 350 degrees, descent altitude 4,000 feet.
On to the departure.
Right heading 350 degrees, send 4,000 feet, right now 35 Echo Romeo.
Oh, there he is.
Runner 1625, squawk 3552.
Do I just not have a louder livery? Is that what he is?
Stansted radar Blue Max on the first Victor, stand 43 Lima, ready for pushing start.
Nice to see Stansted so busy. We've got 7 on the ground.
Ryanair 44 Romeo uniform ready for taxi.
Runner 44 Romeo uniform,
It's
taxi.
in an A320 and not picked up to use the loud delivery by the looks of it.
Hotel and Romeo.
Bravo Hotel Romeo, order point Romeo 1, Ryanair 44 Romeo uniform.
Runner 42 Echo Zulu runway 22, clear for takeoff, for services 26 degrees, 18 knots, gusting 29 knots.
First takeoff from my K2, Ryanair 452.
Runner 1625, turn left heading 220 degrees, descend to altitude 6,000 feet, stick your H1000.
Left to 6,000, sorry, good night 1,000, I know.
Stansted radar Blue Max on the first Victor, stand 43 Lima, ready for pushing start.
Runner 1625, range 26 miles for touchdown.
Traffic 2, Yankee is getting 22, request taxi to gate.
Transfer 90 Yankee, expect stand 12 right, continue taxi Juliet, hold short of Link Alpha.
Expecting 2-1 right via Yankee and link also Transavia 90 Yankee.
Transfer 90 Yankee, negative, expect stand 12 right and taxi and Juliet, hold short of Link Alpha.
Yep, 1-2 right via Juliet, holding short of Link Alpha Transavia 90 Yankee.
Transavia, strong request for this taxi.
Break runner 35 Echo Romeo, turn left heading 250 degrees.
There's the other
Left
Ryanair
heading 230
A320.
degrees, right now 35 Echo Romeo.
Runner 1625, descent altitude 5,000 feet.
1,000 feet, Ryanair 165.
Stansted radar radio check.
Station calling, readability fine.
Assume that he's going to get a
Stansted radar
landing
Blue
in
Max on the
first,
first Victor, stand 43 Lima, ready for
which
pushing
is
start.
another Max coming in from Cologne.
Blue Max 94 Juliet, Victor, stand 43 Lima, push to start approved, QNH 1000.
Push start approved, QNH 1000, Blue Max, 94 Victor.
Runner 6 Mike X-ray via Romeo 1, runway 22, clear for takeoff. 29 knots.
Clear for takeoff, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray. Right, didn't see that coming.
Runner 35 Echo Romeo, descent altitude 2,000 feet, clear for the RLS runway 22.
Descend 2,000 feet, cleared out
Set
altitude 2,
clock.
Ryanair 35 Echo Romeo.
Go and get our landing lights on. And taxi light off.
Runner 1625, turn right heading 360 degrees.
1360, Ryanair 1.
Runner 1625, descent altitude 4,000 feet.
4,000 feet, Ryanair 165.
Ryanair 452, going 4,000, southbound by way.
Runner 40 Echo Zulu, thank you, maintain altitude 4,000 feet.
Maintain 4,000,
Got ourselves up. Engine's up to
Transavia
50%.
5 Echo Alpha, continue taxi, hold point Sierra 1, runway 22 via Link Alpha, Hotel and Sierra.
Getting blown pretty hard across the runway.
Sierra 1, I think Alpha and Hotel.
Stable, so we'll go Toga.
Tundra NR2, good evening, looking for iFly to Edinburgh, please.
22 line up. Actually, runner 44 Romeo uniform, cancel line up and hold position. Runner 44 Romeo
Full
uniform,
left
cancel line up,
rudder,
hold position.
positive rate. Positive rate gear up. Well, that's a heck of a wind, Cordis.
Tundra NR2, requesting iFly to Edinburgh, please.
Yeah, station calling for clearance, standby. Transavia 92 Yankee, give way to the company A320 exiting Alpha, taxi stand 12 right here, link Alpha.
Yep, give way to the right airplane from right to left and then
Flaps up.
12 right, Transavia 98.
Runway 35 Echo Romeo, speed 165 knots till 4 DME.
Speed 165 till 4, runway 35 Romeo Echo.
Pop the autopilot on.
Runway 1625, speed 180 knots.
10, runway 165.
Runway 35 Echo Romeo, the surface is 260 degrees, 18 knots, gusting 29, runway 22, clear to land.
Clear to land 22, runway 35 Echo Romeo.
Runway 67 Mike X-ray, proceed direct Clacton.
Direct Claxton, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray. Okay.
Runway 1625, turn left, landing 26 degrees.
I think that means we can climb up to 6,000.
What's that completed? Anytime we can get that far.
Runway 40 Echo Zulu, my apologies, you can climb flight level 127.
No, it's a climb flight level 120, thanks. So what's that
Oh,
completed?
blimey.
Runway 40 Echo Zulu, nothing further, Unicom 122, doesn't make start.
What kind of rate of
Unicom
climb is
122,
that?
thank you very much.
Just pop it into V nav.
Runway 67
No.
Mike X-ray, nothing further, Unicom 122, doesn't make goodbye.
Over to Unicom, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray, thanks very much. Mode are we in then? Well, as we're going over to Unicom, we'll get up into our climb.
Runway 44 Romeo uniform behind the landing company 737-800 via Romeo 1, runway 22, line of way behind.
Behind the landing company 737 via Romeo 1 line point behind
Runway 1625 to Central 22, ground speed, clear for the Alpha.
That's us on to Unicom and starting our climb up to flight level 370. We'll get our range extended out. Okay, we're going to pop ourselves in level change, we're not going to follow the VNAV. We'll get ourselves up earlier. God blimey, it doesn't half climb like a rocket, doesn't it? Okay, well, I'll leave you watching the climb for a little bit as we go through, and then I will switch us over and I'll join you again a little way through the cruise.
Is there traffic for Foxtrot Golf 9, sorry, Alpha Fox Golf 901? Just to confirm, you entering the hold at Lambert?
So as we get towards the top, halfway through our climb, just crossed over the Essex border. Blimey, that's noisy. Maybe I'll turn MSFS down a little bit. I'll use this opportunity just to show you the route of where we're heading today. So I've popped our route up on the screen. You can see we've headed out of London Stansted. We're going to cross over Belgium, over Luxembourg and a little bit of Germany before we make our way down just towards Switzerland and then over northern Italy for our approach into Venice. We're going to be cruising down at flight level 370 today. It's a trip time of around about 2 hours, hopefully slightly lower given we've got a strong wind pushing us along. Clouds in MSFS24 looking absolutely glorious as we went through that approach. I'll flick back into the cockpit just for a little while. We should be able to pop ourselves into VNAV now. I did it slightly early thinking we would have crossed Clacton when we hadn't, but we'll pop ourselves into VNAV. We'll let plane find its optimal cruise and optimal speed. It's going to drop itself down to about an indicated airspeed of about 275 to take us up to flight level 370. See, as we look outside, looks like we had somebody tracking along with us as well. Lost where they are. Maybe we've turned away from them. have a quick look on VATSIM radar, see who they were. There's a BA City Flyer Embraer 190 going into City that crossed just behind us. It might have been them. They were up at about 25,000 feet. A couple of people heading into London City. Somebody flying an MD-82 into London City, which is a bold choice. So, whilst we're in, let's get our heading bugs set round as well, just in case we need to go onto a manual heading. The one thing we didn't do, we didn't clean up the cockpit after we took off because we were having so much fun watching ourselves go through the clouds. So we'll get the landing lights off, turn our maximum bank angle down a little bit. And we can go now that we've finished that turn, we'll go and get the seatbelt signs off as well. We'll pop this into standard. And that should be pretty much everything set up to take us up to our cruise now. As I say, as we're going through the cruise, I won't keep the whole of the cruise in the video. We don't have any ATC online at the moment. If we do get any ATC coverage, I'll maybe pop on for that. Otherwise, I might just give some quick glimpses of the cruise if we pass over any bits with some nice scenery or where the clouds are broken or anything like that. But we won't spend the whole time just watching the clouds. And we'll pop the range ring up one more now that we're up at a higher level. Yeah, see, our top of climb comes just after Coxey, so kind of just before we're getting towards Brussels. I'm going to use this opportunity to check how badly Portsmouth are probably losing. Oh, blimey, they're winning. Wow, that's shockingly good news. So I'll head out. I'll tell you what, we'll have a quick look at whether we can get a passenger view. And we can get a passenger view. There's not very much to see. But at least they've not put their window blind down at this moment. As we climb out through the clouds. So I'll leave you with the passenger view just as we head a little bit up and just give us a little bit more of a view from the outside as we're hitting our cruise. And then I'll join you again maybe as we're heading somewhere over Germany just to check in with how the cruise is going. Rejoin us once again as we're just passing over around about Luxembourg, cruising along at flight level 370, enjoying some slightly clearer skies now. We're beginning to see patches down on the ground where we can see through the clouds. Still not looking like we're going to get any ATC, unfortunately, on the remainder of our route. Though Italy is still online at this stage, so it's possible they will stay on. I'm not sure if they're part of the 24 hours of VATSIM event. You can certainly see a big stream of traffic heading out of Belgrade up to St. Petersburg by the looks of it, which I assume looks like it's one of the 24 hours of VATSIM routes today. Looks like the Italian radar is just online. It's fairly unusual. So fingers crossed they'll stay on for long enough for us to get over to their airspace and get some service. Fortunately at the moment our friend in this seat on the iFly hasn't decided to put their window blind down, so we can have a little look at what's going on from inside the cabin. One thing I will say about the cabin view is the reflection sitting up in the top half is a bit distracting. Not quite sure what causes that. It is the standard view that iFly has set up, but it really doesn't seem to present hugely well when you see it on screen. Shift our heading back around to our track. We could have a quick look at Navigraph and just show you how we're tracking at the moment. If I go to follow ownership, you can see where it's, so we're just passing over, we're kind of not far from Luxembourg, just down at the bottom left. If I zoom out, then there's our route in full. So a little under halfway now. We're making quick progress with nice tailwind pushing us along. Got a tailwind of 110 knots, pretty much right on the back of us at the moment. Next time that we come in, if we don't get any control, we'll do a little bit of a briefing of the arrival so you can see the route that we're going to be following as we make our way in towards Venice. As you can see, it's time now, it's 15:23 Zulu, and that is giving us, if we look at our progress, we've only got 30 minutes already until we reach the top of descent. That really shows how quickly we're being blown along. We've only been flying for 40 minutes, so what is usually about an hour and 45 to a 2-hour flight, but we're making rapid progress with this wind pushing us along. Ground speed at the moment showing us 539 knots. So I'll take another break, I'll let you watch a tiny bit more of the cruise, and then in about 30 minutes I'll come back on, we'll brief the descent, and we'll start making our way down into Venice. Welcome back. We are just a few minutes away from the top of our descent, making our way down into Venice. As predicted, Italian ATC has gone offline, so we are expecting to make our descent down on Unicon this afternoon. We didn't get much of a break in the clouds. You can see as we're continuing along, it's still pretty cloudy as we're making our way through a thick blanket of cloud underneath us. But we'll head inside the cockpit now, and we'll start to have a little bit of a brief of the arrival. You can see our top of descent is 40 miles away. It's at that, I think it's Loblo or Lawlo waypoint that we're going to start beginning our descent. And we'll bring Navigraph up and we can have a bit of a look at the charts for the descent. So this is the Albe 2 Echo arrival that we're following. You can see we make our way into waypoint Albe, which is up in the top left. We need to be between flight level 130 and flight level 1000. We then descend down, and we have to have descended below flight level 90 by Papa Zulu 755, as well as being at a speed no higher than 230 knots. There's then a very long out and back kind of dog leg that we're expected to follow. You can see the kind of recommended altitudes. We have to be below flight level 90, but we have clearance from Papa Zulu 760 to go down to 6,000 feet. And then we've got around about from there, what was that, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 43 miles to allow us to descend down to be at 4,000 feet and 200 knots and 210 knots at Laren. After that, you can see from Laren, we're just straight in to pick up the ILS. We pick up the ILS at Kizaf. We need to be 3,000 feet and no higher than 200 knots when we hit Kizaf for our ILS approach. Now, in practice, I suspect we'll find that these flights don't really do that big, long out and back, so that's there for if we didn't have somebody giving us vectors in towards the approach, but in practice we will have vectors. So, if we quickly look at this flight from earlier today and what its approach really looked like. You can see that in practice what it does is it takes pretty much a straight line in, does a little bit of a right hand leg, and then just establishes on the ILS. It doesn't do the big long zigzag. So once we get to the point that we can descend down below flight level 100, in practice we'll start bringing ourselves down towards that 4,000 feet. We'll do a little bit of the out if we need to while we're losing altitude, and then we'll just bring ourselves to establish onto final for 04 right. So, that's now got us to 20 miles from the top of drop, so we are going to go... Why isn't my shortcut working? None of my keyboard shortcuts are working, that's weird. Let's go and get ourselves set up. We'll set the VNav up to take us down to flight level 100. And the keyboard's working. It's just the camera views that aren't working. Let's try again. That on my control button isn't working. Either way, very odd. So we'll go downwards, heading up to 158. We can do it all with mouse movements, it's not an issue. Let's see. Something's gone funny with the camera views. It's almost as if my settings have reset into... Let's just check that we're still... No, they're still right. Okay. Any chance that's... Ah, that's fixed it. There we go. Wonder what caused that. So, we should start to see the VNav kicking in and taking us into our descent shortly. We could go and have a look at our approach ref. At the moment we'll plan for a flaps 30 landing, which is going to put us at a speed of 141 knots. No, apparently that button's not working. There we go. We've got runway condition of good. I'm pretty sure we're runway dry for this. RLS, we may as well go and pop our ILS in. So ILS is 109.95 and the course is 39. So we can go and put ILS in 10995. Put that back up here. 10995. And our course was 39. You can see that we've started our descent now. Oh no, I'm heading on 164. And see, our speed is just creeping up at the moment. If it keeps doing that, we'll think about using a little bit of brake. It looks like it's settling now that it's settled into its descent. We'll see whether we can get any kind of nice view across the Alps. Should get some nice views of the mountains as we're going across, especially as the sun's starting to get lower in the sky. If we can get some breaks in the clouds. For some reason we're really struggling to stay on the voice server at the moment. Might be struggling with Wi-Fi here, I'm not sure. We're back on the voice server again. Not that it's making much of a difference, we've not got any ATC online, I doubt there's much going on Unicom. So we're struggling to get the speed down. We're starting to just fall slightly above the vertical path, so I'm going to just pull the speed brake out a little bit, just to help us get back onto profile. Now we can have a look at our landing calculator. I haven't played with the landing calculator in the iFly yet. We're landing 04 right, our condition is dry. How's the FMC got that? No. Flaps 30. No, we're going to have the aircon on. I don't know, we'll have the anti-ice. Auto brake 3. Let's see if we can just go and pick up a metal for Venice. No. That was a difficult one. We went to pick up a metal and got kicked off the network. Let's see if we can get back on. Right, we're struggling with network connection. Okay. Right, that's got us back down to the speed that we wanted, so we'll pop the speed brake back. As I say, what we're going to aim to do is hit down to flight level 100, cross Albay, and then once we've crossed Albay, at or above flight level 100, we will try and make sure we're then just heading down to 4,000 feet. You get a little bit of a better view down. And we've not managed to see as much of the Alps as I'd hoped crossing over. We can kind of see bits in between the clouds. Clouds looking lovely on the flight, but unfortunately not giving us the view that would have been nice of the mountains. We'll head back in and just check the progress of our descent. We'll start bringing the range down on here as well now. We have a quick look at the FMC and our legs. So you can see we've got that binding constraint at Owl Bay now. We've got to be at 270 knots and between flight level 130 and flight level 100. Someone's on Unicom doing a tow at Zurich. So just a quick reminder of the process. So we've got to be between flight 130 and 100 and max 270 knots at Owl Bay. Our next constraint is that we have to be below flight level 90 and down to 230 knots at Papa Zulu 755. We're not allowed to descend initially. Our initial descent is to flight level 90 out of Owl Bay. Have a quick look, see whether we've got window view still available. Oh no, it still doesn't like my keybinds for some reason. So, passing through flight level 200, oops, wrong one. Let's go and get the seatbelt signs on. We'll just double check that landing altitude. I think that is correct. Yeah, the airport elevation for Venice is 7 feet. iFly does seem to overcorrect like that quite a bit. I don't know whether that's realistic. I guess I'm not a real pilot, but it feels like there's quite a lot of overcorrection when the iFly does turns. Nothing dreadful, but one small flaw, I would say. So there's our constraint just come in to be between flight level 130 and 100. Kind of early evening light hitting the aircraft is just gorgeous. really see now that kind of dog leg that's planned in. We just need to make sure that we're able to get down to 4,000 feet for Laren and hit the 4,000 feet and 210 knots constraint when we're there. We're going to try and just help bring the speed back. So following the VNAV path nicely, but we do need to get ourselves, it wants to be at 240 knots, it's struggling to stay there, so we'll give it a little bit of speed brake just to help. We've crossed Owl Bay, actually slightly higher than I seem to remember we were planning, but so we're going to start getting ourselves down. Our next constraint is 9,000. I'm going to pop us into vertical speed mode. To keep coming down at about 1,200 feet per minute. And it's actually that we need to be under 9,000 feet, so I think we may as well just start bringing ourselves all the way down to 4,000. We don't need to worry too much for now about when we're going to get there. I think transition altitude at Venice is 6,000, so we'll just keep an eye out for that as well. I'll just have a quick look at my descent checklist. So we don't need anti-ice, or at 14 degrees. Set our landing altitude. We can go and get our minimum set while we're descending. So our minimum is 207. There we go. We'll just brief the missed approach quickly now. So if we have a missed approach, we follow runway heading up to 5,000 feet, and then at Papa Zulu 702 we make a right hand turn on a heading of 117 degrees, and then we route round to Ocado, which is the holding point, and we have a maximum speed of 200 knots on the go around if we need it. I'm going to bring the range back down a little bit further again. We need to get our speed down to 230 here. We're through flight level 100, so let's go and pop the landing lights on. We're probably going to route a little bit further out than that arrival that we looked at from earlier today, just because we probably need to be just a touch lower to make that turn onto Laren or to go straight ahead. So we'll let ourselves just lose a little bit more speed before we make the turn. But we won't go all the way, I don't think, up to Papa Zulu 740. What I do want to do is retract my speed brake now that we've got our speed down. I'm going to go and arm it so that we're ready for using it on departure. That's my speed brake armed. And while I think about it, we can set our speed brake there. I'll just double check our approach speeds are still correct, which they are. So our approach speed is going to be 146 when we get to it. And we've actually got somebody on the arrival. And they're only a tiny bit lower than us, so we are going to have to follow the arrival all the way round so that we can go in behind them. I don't remember hearing them on. Unicom. So I think this is where we need to be coming down to 210 knots now. We'll just pull this descent speed back a little bit to allow us to lose some speed. I think it was 210 knots rather than 200. Right, we'll come out of standard pressure, we'll just set the barrow. Saying 1013, let me just check that that is right. Bandwidth is struggling again. So let's quickly check online. I've got 1015. I think that is what the sim genuinely fallen off the network again. Absolutely glorious arrival. we'll just bring our heading bug round. It looks like we're actually in a queue. Not sure if that's one on the ground and then us departing, potentially.
Venice traffic, Itero 1462, fully establish ILS 04 right, maintaining 180 until 6, Venice traffic.
Venice traffic, RYR 67 Mike X-ray, it's number 2 for runway 04 right, just crossing Papa Zulu 725, Venice traffic. And we'll start preparing our descent down to 3,000 feet now. We'll start bringing the speed down as well. I'm going to take us down to flaps 5 because that's what's on my thrustmaster. More arm approach mode now. Just a reminder, our V speed on landing was... There we go there, so we're going to go down to a speed of 146 eventually.
Venice traffic, Itero 1462, short final 04 right. Venice traffic, Mazda 3131, radio check.
Read you 5.
Thank you.
Venice traffic, Ryanair 67 Mike X-ray number 2 for runway 04 right, now 10 miles out, Venice traffic. we're going to come down to. Again, we're using the Thrustmaster, which means I'm a bit limited in my flap choices. I'll start bringing the gear down so that we don't have to listen to that. We can go and set our go around altitude now, which is 5,000 feet. We can come down to flaps 30. Let's see if we can get that final bit. That's how you get the flaps to go. Okay. Oops. So the flaps are in transit. There we go. Now, because I find so much time in the Airbus, not very used to the difference of a non-fly-by-wire when it comes to landing the 737, so I need to make sure that I remember that I'm going to have to keep downward pressure as we disconnect.
1,000.
The autopilot is my aircraft. We've gone slightly low. Just bringing ourselves back up. Slightly off centre. Let's got us on centre. No, still not quite on the centre line.
400.
That's looking better. Blown across.
300.
That's pretty nicely lined up. Try and keep ourselves there.
Approaching minimum. 200. Minimum.
Continue. Just blown off the centre line.
50.
Get ourselves straightened up. We're not going to be on the centre line, but
10.
Venice traffic right now. 67 Mike X-ray vacated 04 right Venice traffic. Let's just go and do a little bit of tidying up of the aircraft. it's picked up speed quicker than I expected. If it's going to accelerate like that, let's just stop here and work out our navigation, where we need to go. First we get our landing lights off, get our taxi lights on, and check where we are parking. We are parking lost Wi-Fi again. Right, now let's see if we can double check our parking spot. Which is going to be... There's one stand 114 we're going on. So... it's not going to like it because it thinks it's a GA spot. But we'll try and get there anyway. So we are going to taxi in, take a little bit more of this first right, and then it's one of the stands just ahead of us. And let's get ourselves heading back in. That's why didn't have our engines in idle, that's why we went flying off. One of the things I haven't yet done is set my keybind to toggle so that I can look left out of with the left hat switch. So getting onto our stand might be a little bit interesting, as we won't be able to see out the left window. Got a Star Alliance bird pushing as we come on. So I think we're going to do hard. Right here.
Traffic, Westminster 3131, step 102, shall start up, facing northeast.
There's everything waiting for us. the thing that we didn't do while we were here was get our APU started, which is going to take a little while, so we can't cut the engines just yet. But welcome to Venice. Let's have a little bit of a look around. It's not the worst job of parking that we've ever done. We'll go pop and see. That Star Alliance bird is already out. What happened to the Swiss? Did he just shut down straight away? Where is he? Must have done. This is the World Update Italy version of Venice, I believe. Which I have to say is not the most phenomenal airport I've ever seen modelled, but I will double check whether my beautiful models of the world Venice works at some point. So we'll go and get our taxi lights off, and we just need to wait for our APU to kick in so that we can cut the engines and start our deboarding. Given the amount of time it is since I've flown a 737, it's not the worst landing in the world. I certainly wouldn't say I was happy with it. We've never really kept ourselves on centre.
Repito traffic, started 3131 from Venice, 102, exit point Alpha, runway 25, via
APU
Delta.
It's booted up now, so we'll switch over to the APU generator and the APU bleeds. We can go and get our seatbelt signs off now. That should mean that we can cut the engines. A bit askew? That's a bit unfair. Okay, we'll request our deboarding. We'll watch a little bit of the deboarding and then I'll bring a finish to the video. If you have stayed with us throughout the flight, then thank you ever so much for joining us for this flight over to Venice today. I do hope you've enjoyed it. My first full flight in the iFly 737 MAX, which I found to be a very enjoyable one. Really nice aircraft in my view, and one that I will certainly be looking forward to doing some more flights on the channel with. Well, we've already got the baggage handlers in place, so let's go and have a watch of the baggage handling.
Traffic with number 3131, lining up runway 25, and takeoff via input 5, Bravo departure.
Just noticed all my lights are still on. Okay, well I'm going to finish the video up there. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Apologies for the connectivity issues. We'll try and get that resolved ahead of doing another one of these soon. We'll hopefully be back soon with a controlling video as well. This has been Aviators TV. This has been Ryanair Flight 794 from Stansted to Venice. Good night.